Hi, welcome to the NORA show reels. My name's Paul Waddy. I'm a NORA Network Advisory Council member. I'm also an e-commerce advisor, helping e-commerce businesses in Australia and across the world grow profitably and quickly. You can connect with me on LinkedIn to learn more about what I'm up to. But today we're here with Dave from Lexer. We're going to have a chat with Dave and learn all about the background of Lexer and what they're up to. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Paul.
So Lexer, tell us about it. Give us the background. How did it start? What problems it's solving, and why is it a great solution?
Great. Well, Lexer was started by Aaron Wallace, who I used to work with many years ago, and the business was originally solving a problem regarding social media analytics.
Right.
It was founded about 10 years ago, and Westfield was the first customer. So the problem that it was solving was in the customer space, but it was specifically related to social information. So that was the catalyst. And over the course of the last 10 years, we've expanded the proposition, to where we are today. That is, we've just continued to build and build and build.
Yeah, right. So for the retailers listening, what is the elevator pitch? How could you sum up where the value is for retailers?
Absolutely. So, ultimately we help drive incremental sales. That's the headline. The how do we do that? We focus on customer data. Every single retail board, CEO, C-suite, they all are orienting their business around the customer rather than the channel, which would be traditional organisational structure and thinking. So when they're arranging their business and they're focused around the customer, we help them solve that problem to begin with. So the market calls us a customer data platform.
Yeah.
And what that platform's doing is it's collecting, it's connecting, and it's enhancing customer data from all different sources, zero-party, first, second, and third-party sources, and our platform facilitates all of that, the collection, the connection of it, and also ultimately the enrichment. So that leaves a retailer with, often for the first time ever, not only a view of the customer, but an enriched view of the customer. So that's kind of part one. Then from there, that customer data is then used really in a series of analytics tools and workflow tools. The analytics tools help the consumer retailers understand who their customer is, perform segmentation, understand how customers interact with their brands and their competitors' brands. So a big suite of analytics tools. And then a series of workflow tools. And those workflow tools provide as much automation as possible in the delivery of personalised experiences. And that personalised experience can be from acquisition of a new customer to turning a customer into a two-time customer, win back, all the way through the customer journey in every touch point. So our workflow tools power customer service, in-store clienteling, customer journeys across paid, owned and earned media, a whole suite of tools. So, ultimately what the retailer, what the end benefit is sure they're driving incremental sales, but they're also looking for transformation. So they're getting business transformation, whole of business transformation through this. They're getting cost out opportunities by consolidating their tech stack and saving external costs and staff costs. They're driving an increase in revenue, and ultimately they're improving the customer experience. And it's the sum of those four themes that then go into the incremental sales objective that we drive.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? The customer experience is obviously paramount, I think, in a successful e-commerce business. And it sounds like what Lexer is really doing is bringing the customer closer to the product that they're most likely to buy, right? By curation and personalisation. I think in my world, what I find a lot of is retailers who know they should be using some sort of personalisation on their site, but often it ends up in the too hard basket. Is Lexer sort of agnostic of all platforms? Is it okay on Shopify, Magento? And how difficult is it to onboard something like Lexer?
Great. So I guess two awesome questions. The first one is, we're Switzerland, we're agnostic. So although we compete with Salesforce and Adobe, we integrate with Salesforce and Adobe products. We've made that decision from the beginning that we would be agnostic. If you're not agnostic, you're working against your customer, right? The retailer. They want an agnostic approach. They don't want barriers, from their providers. So absolutely, we're agnostic, and we work across the board. with regards to how long does it take
Yeah.
and how much does it cost, the time it takes, we're onboarding new retail brands in as quickly as 5 days.
Wow.
And we're doing that through technology, through the integration, the integrations that we provide in our platform. Think about it like a marketplace for integrations, where you can integrate with your Shopify, your MailChimp, and other technologies. Now that's not always the case, because some retailers have got a really old stack of technology.
Yeah.
They might have data in multiple systems, multiple old systems, from spreadsheets all the way through to very old point of sale systems, and that takes a bit of time. But we provide the services to deliver that as well. So we don't just provide the data solution and the software, but we provide the services too.
And ideally, I mean, how quickly could a platform like Lexer begin to deliver some form of return for a retailer?
Yeah, the return comes from day one.
Right.
As soon as the customer data is available for insights, it's myth busting.
Yeah.
And typically what a CEO and a board and the C-suite love is that all of a sudden this subjective conversation about, no, our customer is like this,
Yep.
or we think the customer will behave like this, or we think. It's actually, and one of our really great clients, he summed it up as like Lexer's insights became his gut.
Yeah.
Right, it replaced his instinct, and so that comes immediately. And then of course there's all of the work around building the journeys, building all of the customer service workflows, building the in-store clienteling experience, building the outbound sales workflows, and so on.
Yeah, so you're actually powering quite a few functions within a business. It's not simply better product search or better product recommendations on site, is it? No,
it's very broad. And unlike many businesses that have a single point solution and they do one thing really well for one market, we believe that when we understand, we're told that a retailer wants simplicity. They want to be able to focus their energy as a business doing what they do best. Which is designing, producing, merchandising, and trading product. Yeah. And often we find a retailer will come to us and they'll have a tech stack that might have 3, 4, 5, 10 different pieces of SaaS plugged into their business. They have multiple agencies doing different things, and we provide a huge degree of simplicity. And that simplicity increases speed and decreases cost, and just general operational overhead.
Yeah, so one of the questions I get a lot from retail is what is a CDP, or a customer data platform? And if I use one, do I need to bolt something else onto it that then powers the front end, or does a CDP personalise the front end and also connect to your MailChimp or your Klaviyo or all of those things? Does anything else need to be bolted on to use Lexer?
Yeah, great question. The software companies are incredibly good at marketing and sales.
Yeah.
And they have realised that this CDP, customer data platform moniker, has momentum, has interest, has intrigue, and a lot of businesses have applied that sticker to the box, right? And those businesses range from email businesses, tag management businesses, plumbing businesses, and they've all called themselves a CDP. Yes. Our business is actually, although we are in, by true definition, and David Rabb from the CDP Institute runs a definition, actually does, these businesses are, these businesses are not. But we're actually much more than a CDP. We're more like a customer experience platform. Yeah. And I kind of say we're a customer data, insights, marketing, sales, and service platform is actually what we are. Yeah. And so, I think there is a lot of confusion in the marketplace because, plumbing businesses who are really just doing integrations work, they call themselves a CDP. Yeah. Email businesses that are doing journey management in some channels call themselves a CDP. Tag management businesses call themselves a CDP. It's very confusing for the retailer. And so we try and actually focus and orient the dialogue around the customer. Yeah. It's not about the acronym that gets stuck on the box or the sales pitch.
And I think you're right. I mean, every man and his dog is calling themselves a CDP at this point, and I think that causes confusion for retailers. And I think the vast majority of retailers that I talk to or work with know they need some form of personalisation on the site, and typically they've been able to scale to a certain level. And then the marketing dollar doesn't go as far as it once did. And you start to scramble a little bit for the 1% and 2%ers. But I think the barrier typically has been just the convoluted space and people not really understanding. But it sounds like with Lexer, you can onboard it. There's a very good chance it's going to integrate with some of your platforms you're already using, but you don't necessarily need to make massive changes to your tech stack to start yielding some results.
No, and quite often we're, a new retailer will come and work with us, and whilst they'll have a vision to decommission a whole bunch of their tech stack because the consolidation is important to them for all the reasons I mentioned before, there'll be a program of work that will do that over time.
Yeah.
And we'll come in and solve that customer data problem and focus on one use case, which might be acquisition or win back or turning one-time customers into two. So it really just depends on the life stage and the priority of the company and the drive from, generally it's coming from the marketing officer or the executive officer that's driving that.
Sure, and you mentioned, I think, that your first customers was Westfield, so not a bad way to start. Who are some of the other clients you're working with currently?
Yeah. Unlike most SaaS businesses, we built our business from enterprise down.
Yeah.
Most SaaS businesses build their business from small business up. So our first customers were customers like Westfield, like Optus, ANZ, Qantas, Seek, IAG, all multi-billion-dollar super enterprise businesses. We still serve those businesses today. And that was very deliberate from our perspective. We use those enterprise brands to help innovate, build a world-class, best-in-class solution for the most complex use cases that then we could use to, we use that technology and that innovation to deliver it to large, to medium, to small. And today we work with brands all the way from a single store cycling shop in California all the way up through to BMW. And, so a very, very big spread. And the reason why is they all have the same challenges. Yeah. They all orienting around the customer. They all want to drive a personalised experience to the customer. And they're all looking, as you just said before, for the 1, 2, 3 percenters to drive incremental improvement in their business.
And commercially, what is it like? I mean, what scale? You mentioned a top-down approach. How far down? What size businesses can go for Lexer? And can you talk to some of the commercials involved with getting
Absolutely.
started?
So, I mean, we're designed to, firstly, to be absolutely in lockstep with the retailer, so we're aligned with them. Our fees range from, we've got customers that spend thousands, we have customers that spend millions. So there's a really big spread. And that spread is based on 4 things. There's a setup cost that sometimes is very small and simple and sometimes is more elaborate. So there's setup, there's a SaaS fee, and then there's traditional SaaS fee, so like a base fee. There's scale, and scale is linked to either the number of customers that the brand has or their GMV. So we're in lockstep with the customer, and our success is linked to theirs. Right. And then the 4th area is in services. So unlike a lot of software businesses, we actually have a very strong services team that don't just farewell the brand and wish them good luck, but they work, in partnership with them in a really rigorous process to achieve, set out those outcomes and goals and actually achieve them on a monthly or quarterly cycle.
Yeah, I like that Lexer's success is really tied to the customer's success then. I think a lot of retailers would be interested knowing that they can sort of prove the concept and scale up with the platform. With that in mind, we've got a lot of retailers probably watching and tuning in. Who are some of the retailers that you'd love to sign on as clients, Dave?
Who would we love? Well, I mean, some of the great customers that we already work with, brands like The Iconic and Zimmerman and Rip Curl and, single brand businesses like that, household names. We work with groups like Paz Group and Brand Collective and APG. And we work with smaller brands, many of which nobody would have ever heard of. And what are we looking for, with regards to new customers? We're looking for brands, firstly, that have a vision and a belief around customer first, which surprisingly isn't everybody. We're looking for brands that want to consolidate their tech stack or incrementally improve it. And as long as the brand has a direct relationship with the customer, or even an indirect relationship with the customer, and they want to improve and are committed to driving that improved personalised experience, that's what we're looking for. So it is that full spread from a brand like the Upside, for example, e-commerce pure plays, anybody that retails a good or a service to a consumer customer. is a great business for us, and a business that we can help significantly in a measurable way.
Great. Well, I think the key takeaway there for me is that I think personalisation is absolutely essential, and brands really have to consider possibly even allocating some of that marketing budget into putting some form of personalisation on the site. It sounds like Lexer isn't just for the big end of town, but it's quite broad in its client base, and it can deliver a return quickly and possibly prove that concept quite quickly. So Dave, really enjoyed learning about Lexer, and thanks very much for coming on the NORA Showreels.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.